Welcome back to another episode from Life for Living Well. My name is Richard. Before I dive into the topic I have for us this week, I do like to say, if you like to know one or two things Life for Living Well community does, you can check it out on our website at www.lifeforlivingwell.com. You will also find our weekly podcast on the platform. If it's something that you like to listen to when you're driving or walking or going for a run or whatever you're doing. And if you also like to get some inspiration about books or articles, you can also find it out on the platform. So on the platform website. So once again, the website is called www.lifeforlivingwell.com. If you like to get a weekly newsletter or article, please sign up with your email. And every time we release a new article or publish a podcast, you will get a notification if that will be helpful. So let's dive in without taking much of your time. The topic we're looking at this week is what I call 3 signs you are ready for a major life change. How do you know that you are actually prepared for a life change? Or what are the signs that can give you a little bit confidence that you are, as an individual, have worked enough within for yourself that you ready for 3 life change? So let's look at the 3 signs you will observe that you're already present in your life to show that you're actually ready for a major life change. As we normally do, we take individual inspirational word and then we build the whole message around it. So this week I'm taking from Sir Winston Churchill. He put it this way: to improve is to change. To be perfect is to change often. So we all know how it's difficult to embrace change. We know how difficult for a lot of people to actually accept change. So what they actually do most of the time is to resist it, but gradually the change is actually taking effect. It might be slowing down to accept it, but the moment they accept it, the change is already engulfed them. So when we talk about life-changing events, what exactly are we talking about? So many of us can say 1 or 2 things about it. Are we all ready for it? So that's the questions. But in reality, majority of people are not. So it is clear that the majority are not fully ready. But for some reason, they continue to press on. It could be because of the social influences. What other thing they're also good at is to mask their true feelings in order to fit in with social trends. So what happens when people are not fully ready or prepare themselves for life major change? Suddenly it happens. So what you say most of the time, enormous stress and pain. And this is far too common in a situation where change suddenly presents itself. And life-changing events could include getting married, moving to a new home, having children, experiencing death in the family, going through a divorce, or losing income, and many more. Any of these events could easily lead a person to an unearthly place. You might ignore yourself. You might lose hope in life. You may even consider losing aspiration and motivation to do the things that you really enjoy doing. You might withdraw for people. So we all react to this kind of change in a different way. One of the great things about Stoic philosophy is using death as a means of meditation, knowing that every time you are alive, you wake up, you have a reason to be grateful, you have a reason to go to a job, you have a reason to put a food on your table, you have a reason to rise and connect with your friends and family. Because they are aware that everything is just in the moment. It can be taken away from you, whether willingly or by force. Any of these events could easily lead a person to an unearthly place, potentially having a serious impact on their well-being. So, let's quickly examine 3 signs that you are ready for a major life change. And I should warn you that though no matter how prepared you think you are, you can still be confronted with anxiety, sadness, stress, and even sickness whenever any unpleasant life changes occur. So number 1, you are okay with change. It is Leo Tolstoy that said, true life is lived within tiny changes occur, not a gigantic changes, but tiny changes that occur, and micro tinies become big one. And imagine you focus this particular change into personal growth and development. Imagine you work so hard on yourself that you work harder on your job. Imagine you decide to be a better version of yourself for today compared to who you used to be. What do you think will happen in 5 years' time, in 10 years' time? Is a question. So many people often do anything to avoid or prevent a change if they can. They become cynical about everything. They hopeless about even not try because they already think it's going to fail. But they didn't realize that there's also a greater lesson and knowledge in failure. So you will become a better person when you embrace changes with an open mind. And this will allow you to evolve with time. So there's something you can say about people that embrace change and they are okay with it. They often exhibit qualities like patience and calmness. So you wonder what gives them this assurance, what gives them this confidence. Mostly it comes from knowing that everything will be okay. Reality is that 99% of what you think will happen probably are not going to happen. Even if it may not be the way it used to be. Sometimes life will push you to where you need to be, even though you didn't know desire it from the beginning. But then you later find out that that is where you need to be. So number 2, you no longer blame others for your past. Just pay attention to the people you spend time with. When you ask them, why did you make these choices? Why do you think this fell? Why do you think this happened to you? They quickly know who is responsible for it. But they are not aware the role they play in it. But when you ready for major change event, you no longer blaming others for your past. I once met someone many years ago. So I asked them, why did they think their marriage broke down? So the answer they gave me is because of their husband. Because he cheated and have children outside their marriage, which is really not nice things to do. But they didn't talk about how they didn't have any time for that marriage. They didn't talk about what is priority for them is making sure that they reach the top of their career as a surgeon. They didn't talk how they travel different places to do courses that sometimes they didn't see each other for months. Again, that's not an excuse, but you have to aware what is going on. So I said, what percentage of responsibility they take for me? So they said no, they didn't have any fault in it. So I asked again, and then they paused, and the person said maybe 30% is my contribution to it. So many adults, they blame their parent, spouse, bosses, friends, politicians, and others for their current unsatisfactory positions in life. They blame others for poor financial education, unstable relationships, and hold on to resentment, anger, judgment, and constant comparison to others. So what is this telling us about ourselves? And by the time you reach this stage, you have departed from victimhood and taking back the power from those who once damaged your trust. So you have developed the knowledge necessary to understand people intricacies. So by this stage, you are already invested in learning and gaining the knowledge to navigate the many doors of choice available to you in life. So you've learned how to live a life. And truly, you cannot always trust everyone you meet. And you must not always give in your trust without make sure that you're able to explain, understand the character of the individual you're dealing with. So you protect and guided your heart diligently. We are very impatient in nature, and sometimes we let our emotion drive us to where we're not supposed to be. When we refuse to be a master of our mind, we become slave to it, and it's a terrible master. And number 3, which is the last one, you are able to navigate life chaos. Buddha once said, life itself is suffering, but you can minimize your suffering. You can reduce it. You cannot escape from it. You will say things that will displeasure to your soul. You will say injustice. You will try to do something to change it. You will feel hungry, you will eat. You will live, you will die. You will gain, you will lose. This is life. Again, it takes diligence. It takes deliberately, intentionally acquire understanding. There is no a single book that says how to live a life. I guarantee you it will be the best-selling book in the whole wide world. But the world itself, the life itself, have a collection of wisdoms. You can acquire this wisdom through the other people's experience, or you can acquire it through your own personal experience. You do not have unlimited years to live here, but you can take advantage of the time you have to have multiple experiences through the gaze of other people's windows. So, number 3, you are able to navigate life chaos. There are many things you have no control over. Even though the government, by nature, we wanted to be in control of things. Just think about your own home, about your own affairs, how much you exercise control on it. And every human being have a desire for one thing, to have power over the others. So your mind, your heart, is your responsibility to guide it diligently. What you consume, what you hear, what you say, what you feel about it. So there are many things you have no control over. You have no control over the color of your skin. You did not choose that. You're born with it. The direction of the wind, you have no control over it. Or others people's thoughts and behaviors. You could be driving on the road, and easily someone can trigger anger, fear that you already have within yourself. They didn't create it, but their behavior triggered it for you. So people use what? You made me angry with you. No, it is you, it's within you. That feelings, that emotion arise within yourself. But that individual is the one that trigger it. It could be through their word or their behavior. So, for those who have learned to manage and navigate life chaos, they can tap into creativity and ability to manage boredom. Life itself can be really messy. As much you say the beauty of life, life itself is chaos, is well organized itself. And if you live in an environment that is so particular about structure, organized, you could be just carried away and think that is the way the rest of the world is. You are mistaken. until you went to another part of the world that's so chaos. It reminds you that the world itself is chaotic. It's messy. You have no day-to-day of control of everything. But if you live in an environment that where control, where structure, well organized, it creates a artificial peace of mind. But it's not a true reflection of the whole universe. So remember, the whole world is covered by 70% of water, where no one can live. And only human being and the others being live in the remaining 30%. As much as you want to think where you live is so big, it's only part of that 30% that are valuable to us, to farming, to live, and also live with microorganisms as well. And for this reason, it shows that life is not a one thing that you can just define it, except thinking about it that life itself is suffering. That every moment change comes. And it's only when you are prepare your mind, work on yourself to the point that you can notice this sign, you may be able to handle it in a way that is not destructive to your well-being. As I'm bringing this to the end, finally, I want to say congratulations if you are one of the few who can demonstrate the 3 signs above. You are indeed successful, and the sky is not the limit. Why did I say that? Because you'll be able to create more success. In our world, we often value good health more once we lose it. So we don't appreciate having a good health a lot. We just take it for granted that we put on our clothes, we put on our shoe, we jump into our car and drive to our place of work and come back home or picking our family up in train station at school. And we just take it for granted until we are not able to go for work, and that's when we miss the work. One of the songs that I love to listen some few years ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, it said, you only remember the home when you far away from home. You only remember the light when it's dark. You only remember umbrella when it's raining. And it's true. But this particular message is to actually make you sit down and appreciate how beautiful life has been for you. Don't wait until it's taken away from you before you appreciate it. Someone sent me, a family member sent me a generic message on WhatsApp the other day, and it was an old man reading the newspaper, and the message is all about why we finding this kind of behavior difficult to find these days. This kind of men, they also contribute to the community because the children go to them to help them with schoolwork. They also able to tell you the story about the area that you don't know. Today, everybody buried their hand. We have so much tapping into the information on our phone. Again, it's able to reconnect that we probably don't appreciate that 20, 30 years ago, but we appreciated it more now because it's not there. Abraham Lincoln once said, in the end, it is not the years in your life that count, It is the quality of life in your years. So I leave you with that word, and I hope this message helps someone. Until we meet again, please stay safe and have a wonderful week. Ciao.